So okay, so the first ARA configuration settings what we have is 1001 parameter. So this 1001 parameter is enable the function change log. So whenever we are changing anything into the function, it will keep record what changes will happen in this ARA. Okay, so before moving to this, let's see what is the meaning of that. So whenever we talk about like a risk here in this GRC. So first thing what we have, first important thing what we have is a called function. So function is nothing but a object which can hold the transaction code. Okay, so it will have T code. Okay, and whenever we are adding any T code, which will have the actions. Okay, so in ARA, whenever we call as the T code is nothing but the action. Okay, so this is just you have to remember. And whenever we call here like a permission is nothing but your authorization object and value. Okay, so these two terms you just remember, like whenever you talk about action is nothing but your T code, whenever you talk about permission is nothing but authorization object and values. Okay, and once we say function, so like function 1, assume like we have the function 1, so it's nothing but the combination of your action and permission. So assume like if you want to create one function which is su01, and in this function you add the transaction su01. Okay, and then if suppose you have the function 2, so in the function 2 you can add this PFCG. So this is the two transaction which we say that if you have the if a user have the su01 and PFCG is nothing but one risk. Okay, so then we can create a risk, and risk is nothing but the combination of function 1 and function 2. Okay, so if we create a risk 1, the risk 1 will be the function 1 and function 2 combination. Okay, so it's nothing but su01 and PFCG, right? So this is a kind of SOD risk. So this is nothing but a kind of SOD risk because we have the two combination of transaction. If you have SU0 single way or PFCG assigned to a user, it will not bring the risk 1 because it is always check the user will have SU01 and PFCG, then only it will form a risk. So until here, any question?
No, sir.
Okay, so in
Because
case
both are security transactions, right? Then
yes,
why it forms a risk?
sorry.
Both are security transactions.
Hmm.
Then why it forms a risk?
Because if you give the SU01 access and PFCG access to a user in production system, he can assign any role to himself, like SAP all and SAP new also for himself, which is a kind of risk,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
Or maybe he can
Even if
create.
we give S01 itself, they can create, right?
No, he cannot create any role, na?
But he can add profile, right? SAP underscore all profile.
You can restrict this also, right?
Okay, SU01D we can provide.
Yeah,
Okay.
because you can create. You know that SAP all and SAP new will be monitored. So what people do the smart way, okay? They can create
Okay,
one
okay.
role and add all your profile into your one role and add this role to you yourself. So
Okay.
in the by seeing you cannot see that the user assigned SAP all and SAP new to yourself, but you assign one role. But this role is nothing but the same as SAP all and SAP new,
Okay.
right? So that is why most of the big companies, if you go, they will have the separate team. User creation and user management team is separate, and role creation team is separate.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just an example. Means I just tell you, but there will be some various other risk is there, like a business risk. Okay, so for example, if you say like VA01 creation of sales order, okay, and VF01 approving of sales order, so this is a kind of a risk, okay, business risk, that is coming from the sales area. Similarly, like you have one more kind of risk, like a PA30 for example, okay, PA30 which will be by which you can change the salary detail for yourself, right? So if you give this PA30 access with info type 008, okay, that is, anyway, you have to know that. Plus if you give the access for the payroll, okay, I will just give PY, okay, payroll access, so then you can change your own salary and run the payroll. Like here you can change the salary, with the payroll transaction you run the payroll transaction, which will be running by the payroll administrator only on 30 or 31st, right?
Yes.
So these are the kind of specific kind of risk which we are trying to control using GRC in an automated way. Okay, so that is the main purpose of ARA. So until here is fine, right, with everyone. So if we only focus on the transaction, is nothing but the action level risk. If we are talking about like a permission level, so then it will be a permission level risk. Suppose if you give access for a user SU01 and PFCG in a role, but in all the object you have given the display access. So permission level, it will not be a risk, right? It is just a display. Even though you give the transaction for change related transaction or create transaction, but if in the activity wise if you don't give the change access or create access, so user cannot do anything other than display, right?
Yes.
So in that case the permission level risk is not there if you give the display for these two transactions. Only the action level risk you will find, like user have SU01 and PFCG. So that is the difference between the action level and permission level. Clear?
Yes.
So any person, any question?
Here we concentrate more on permission level, right? More than
Both,
action level.
both. If you only give the permission, don't give actions, then what will happen? Nothing will happen. So both are
Okay,
equally
okay,
important. The first step is action, and then the second step is your permission.
okay. And then in interview and all, will they ask these combinations and all?
Why not? They will ask.
BA01, VF.
No, this combination nobody can remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a global rule set, right?
Means global Ruleset SAP standard transactions will be the showing the combination, but the
Okay.
point here, like nobody will be able to remember all these transaction combinations.
Hmm.
Okay, so we know by experience like some of the transactions which will be the common SOD, but nobody
Okay.
knows that. Sales
Okay.
people knows about the sales one, finance will be finance one, right? We know some of the
Hmm.
transactions related to security and some for the function, not for all the deep level.
Hmm.
But by knowing, if we know this, that will be very good. As a security consultant or the GRC functional consultant, it will be good. So
Okay.
better if you really want to be is like a global techno functional kind of thing, then better to go for this business understanding what is the transactions and all. This will be very helpful.
Okay.
Anyway, so just come to our topic again. So this thing is clear with everyone, right? So what is the rule set then? The rule set, whenever we call as a rule set, so rule set is nothing but the combination of risks. So for example, risk 1 plus risk 2, so all kind of risk which we are creating and combining together in a rule set is called a rule set. Risk 3 for example, okay. So all kind of risk You can club together, keep into the rule set. The rule set is something similar to like your folder where you have the all type of risk clubbing together. Okay. So until here, anyone have any question?
No.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
we can generate rule set in GRC and also in SPRO, na?
Yes, yes, both places we can generate them.
Actually, it's been asked to me in interview.
Yes, yes, both the way we can do. As same like whenever we are making any change or creating any role, we have to generate the role. In similar way, whenever we are creating and adding any risk into the rule set, we have to generate the rule set. Okay, and
Okay.
both way we have to generate either from the NWBC or from the backend SPRO also.
Okay.
Okay, so good. So now coming to our point, so 1001 parameter is like if we enable this 1001 parameter, so whenever we are making any change into the function or creating any new function, it will add or capture the change log. So how we can do this? Let's see that practically. So now 1001 parameter is yes, and once we make any change into the function, so it will capture that changes. So for example, in case if you want to create a function, let's create one function. So we have to go to this setup work set, and then access rule maintenance we have to go, and if we go for this function, so we can create a function. Okay, so before creating, let's create one rule set, so like one folder for our training purpose. So we are creating the 7 p.m. Okay, so that's all. If we save it, it will be a rule set we created, blank rule set, and here is the change history. If you see here, it will capture the change history here. Okay, for this the parameter is different, but the meaning here, if we enable that parameter, it will capture the change history, like this rule set is being created by this person, this date, this timing. Okay. Okay, so we created this rule set now, and in case if you want to create function, go here for the function, click on create. Function 1 we are creating, so the business process we have to select. Okay, and give some description, and click here for the action. Okay, so once we click on add, so here we have to select our system for which we want to create this function. So our system is which one, this one or this one? Connector for EHP8, is it the description of that? You remember, or I anyway not remember what is that. I think this one. Yeah, Kapuzon, you remember what is that?
No, Vikas.
Okay, anyway.
Because in an organization, if they want to implement GRC, means they will create new rule set, or they will go ahead with an global rule
They
set.
will copy actually the global rule set, and then change whatever they need it.
They will create a new rule set and add all the details from the global rule set, right?
They copy from the global rule set, and
Okay.
whatever like a z1 is there, na, z transaction code they will add there
Okay.
in the copy.
Can't we add Z transactions in global?
We can, but the point here, in case of any upgrade or if any changes will be done by the SAP, it will overwrite your changes. The z t code will be washed out then.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay, I think which one, this one we created, right? Oh, oh, oh. So this we created YEHP8, na.
Yes.
So the YEHP8, this an EHP8 system connector. Okay, let's modify this better, na. So this will give hint.
This is ZTHP8 only.
Okay, YEHP8 we created, na.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So let's change this one. We'll change this description anyway, so it will not be a confusion for us. Okay, so let's. I think it will not reflect immediately. Okay, so let's close it. Let's create it again. Function 1. And add here. Now we should have our connector. And here the action. Okay, so add your transaction code, for example SU01. Transfer here, say okay, and then just save it. And permission level, everything is inactive right now, so we go one by one. Okay, already exists, so let's take like 4 and 5 or 5 and 6.
Sir, these permissions pulled from SU24
Yes,
backend.
yes. So whatever we made as yes, so all this permission and authorization object and value will be coming from SU24. So we have the authorization sync job, right? We run the first.
Yes,
So
yes.
this will come because we run the sync job. Otherwise, if we don't run the sync job, you cannot see those permission level there,
Okay.
right? So so like we created this function. Okay, so let's add those function here. What we created, z underscore
07
07
and
and 5 as well. Okay, let's
now 5. Yes. Yes.
5 na. Okay,
Yes.
7 underscore 5. Okay, 05. Okay, now let's create one more, like we create 06 maybe. So this will just give some hint. So we added this PFCG also. So once we save it, so here you can see like 1001 parameter, if we enable, it will capture the change log for the role. Okay. So if we not enable, this entry will not be added here. So later also, if you want to make any changes, it will keep adding those change log. Okay, and that will happen for 1001 parameter if it is enabled to yes, this one, right? Similarly, if we creating any risk, so if we enable 1001 parameter, whenever we are making or creating any new risk or changing any risk, so it will capture the change log. Okay, so let's go to the system again. So now we created two functions, right? So once we create these functions, then we can create a risk. So the risk wise, we click on the access risk, click on create, give some hint like 07 risk. We are okay, it will not take so much, but okay, let's take risk. So normally we write something logical, okay, and then select your business process for which we are creating a risk. Some risk level, okay, activity is active, and here is the place to add the functions. So since this is a SOD kind of risk, so we have to add two or more functions, at least two or more also we can add. So indirectly what we are doing, this is SU0 and this is PFCG, and we added SU0 and PFCG. If the user have SU01 and PFCG, it will bring the risk number Z7 risk. Okay, and this risk now is the part of which rule set. So here is the place. If we click on the rule set and add the rule set here, so then it will the part of this rule set. Okay, save it, and here is the change history. So once we enable that parameter, it will add like which function we are adding or in which rule set we are adding. So all the record will be recorded here, right? Any question until here?
Yeah, because one option was given about risk owner
Yeah. So the risk
in a
owner,
risk
yeah. So the
configuration.
risk owner option will be available. So this will be used like this parameter we have not reached actually. So but anyway, this parameter will be used in case if suppose you want to make workflow enabled, and then you want if in case if anybody is creating any risk or anybody is changing anything into the risk, so it will not directly save into the system. It will go for the approval for the risk
Okay,
owner. So
okay,
once
like
the,
a the risk.
yeah, similarly to mitigation of the risk. So
Okay,
once this is there, then it will go for the risk owner, and once the risk owner approve it, then only it will take the part of risk analysis report.
okay, okay,
Okay, so we created that risk right now, and then in once we create any risk or functions or changing anything, so as we are creating or generating the role, similarly we have to generate the risk always. So the option here, like select your risk first. So for example, this is the risk which we have created, both the entry, and here is the place like a generate rule. Okay, so if the risk is having very less risk, if you are selecting, then go for the foreground. Otherwise, if you are having more number of risk, then go for the background. Okay, So just click on the generate. So once you click on confirm, then it will give you the hint like how it is taking the combination. So for the action level rule, how it is generating, it is giving the option like SU01 and PFCG. Okay, once you go for the permission level risk, also it is not bringing any authorization object. So the meaning here, it is checking only SU01 and PFCG. So we will see that how to do the permission level risk little later. First check how to run the action level risk. Okay, so until here, any question from anyone before moving further?
Because here we will generate only risks, right? We won't generate the entire rule set.
No, not the entire one. Yeah,
Okay.
the thing we change only that we have to generate. If you don't know like which one done which changes, then generate everything. Generating everything is also not a harm actually, but only thing it will take your time, server timing and resourcing.
Okay.
Resource it will take.
Okay.
Okay, so now once we create a risk, so then if suppose you want to see the risk, then you go for the action access management, go to the user level risk analysis for example, and go for a system. Ideally we have to create any actually one simulated user, but anyway, let's see if we can find something. 7 p.m. rule set that we created, and okay, and I will be sending you some of the recommendations in from my LinkedIn, and so just add whatever your recommendations are there. Okay, so we run the risk analysis.
Okay.
Okay, so we run the risk analysis, and if you see here, so this user, these many users from here to here, you can see have the risk, like they have the SU0 and PSCG, and that's what it is bringing that risk here. Okay, so this is how we can find the risk. So if we select like action level, it will bring the action level risk. Right? Any question from anyone?
No, Vikas.
Aditya?
No, sir.
Okay. Rupali, from your side?
No, Vikas.
Because I have a query.
Yeah.
Earlier, you generated risks, right?
Yes.
There use we can see all the risks for all the systems, or we can
The
see
system
only
which
for
we
that ARA.
selected, na? Because this point here, the function which we created only for one system, so this risk will only be applicable for that system.
Can you show that risk generation
No,
again?
not risk generation, the function you have to see. Okay, so just see that function which we have created.
Okay.
So
Here it is coming for all systems, right?
no, just open.
Oh, okay.
Here is the
Functions
function.
can be added to all systems. Okay.
So it is okay. I think this was a blank one, but we created this one, that 5 6 na. So if you see here, we have added the system here. So the risk
It
will
will
bring.
show only risks, and then under if we go to each function, we can see what are the systems are added. Even here we can add another connector, right?
You can add connector, but for this it is right now applicable only for this system. So this
Okay.
this risk will not be applicable if you select another system and keep this rule set which we created just now. So you will not find this risk,
Oh,
even
okay.
though the user have SU01 and PFCG in other system, it will not bring the risk for that. because
Okay.
of this. Okay, if you want to add like 3 system or 4 system, that is perfectly okay, but the logic you understood, right?
Yeah.
So if you want other system, so add this system, other system also here, and other system also in the other function, then it will bring the PFCG and SU01 risk for other system as well.
Okay.
Okay, so until here no question, so let's move on. So these two functions you remember, 1001 is there, 1002 is for risk, and 1003 is for enable organization rule changes log. So in case if we are creating any organization rule, okay, like some exception, in case suppose you want to say like one user is there, and for him like uh, assume like he is creator of the sales order and the approver of the sales order, but if you give to the two different company code, then it will not be a really a SOD, right? Because he can create the sales order for one company code 1000, but he cannot approve the sales order for company code 1000, right? So then you can create like a org rule, so that it will comes as a exception, so that if the user will have VF01 for 2000 company code but doesn't have VA01 for 2000 company code, then it is not a kind of risk. Okay, for that purpose we can create the organization rule, and if we are creating any organization rule for the change log, if we enable 1003 parameter, it will be a change log for that.
This is like plant specific, right?
Plant company code is specific, org level is specific, you can say.
Okay.
Okay, so then 1004 parameter enable the supplementary log, a supplementary rule change log. So in case if you want to see create a specific exception rule for your risk, then you can enable this supplementary rule. You can design the supplementary rule, and to make the change log for that enable, you can maintain the parameter 1004 parameter. Okay, similarly 1005 parameter, so which is used for enabling your critical rule changes. So critical role changes means like we can define here in ARA any role as a critical role. For example, like if you have a payroll role, that can be designated as a critical role, because this role cannot be assigned to all the people or many people, only for very few people this role can be assigned, as an example, right? So there will be some separate or specific role which can be assigned to the very few user, so that we mention as a critical role. So that we can define here in this critical role section. So if we click here critical role and click on create, for which system you want to make role definition as a critical role, select your connector, give your role name, for example payroll role, for example this HR 940 underscore payroll, that is a transaction actually. So in this you can add for which rule set you want to make a definition, like this role will be the payroll role. Then whenever you select the option like who are the user who have this critical role, so in the risk report if you select this option, it will bring the option like which is the critical role. Okay, so and if you enable the parameter, it will capture the change history here again. Clear until here? Any question?
Sir, so it means every role in every system need to be defined as a low, critical, or high.
Yeah, yes.
So we have lot many roles in the system. So I mean, how?
No, not all the role you can mark as a critical role. Like we mentioned, like a like this payroll role. For example, ESS role is there in HR. If you take as example for HR, right? That is not a critical role. That you don't have to add here. That will be keep like a open one.
Okay, so no, but we have that option of low also.
Low,
Whether,
low or load?
so can you go back? There was
Yeah,
one option, maybe defining critical or
yeah. This risk level, na, you are saying, right?
yes,
So this we can define like based on the requirement, like it should be
yes,
whether low, medium, or high.
yes.
So that is up to us, like a level of this criticality.
Okay.
Okay, that is up to us how to define or what to define.
Okay, so well, there is no provision of uploading like mass roles here and make it all as a critical that.
Yeah, we have the option, right? We can mention in this rule set, no? Once we go for this rule set upload or changes in the mass way, we have the option here. We can do the changes directly from here. Like we have download option and upload option also. First you download what we have because you need the template, right?
Yes, sir.
So download it and then later after change you upload it here.
Okay, and it will reflect in NWBC.
Yes.
Okay, sir. Any job need to be run after this, sir, or it will be automatic?
No, this will be automatic. Once you upload it, after that you just have to generate it for the as a risk, and then it will be visible there.
Okay, okay, sir.
Because for rule sets we can do like this, but for roles, critical roles, how can we do?
It is a part of rule set only, no?
Okay,
We'll see.
critical.
We'll see. Don't worry.
Okay,
Okay, because otherwise we are losing the track. Okay, so I don't want to go in that way. Okay, so but we will see that
okay,
how to make changes because right now we have created this critical rule definition. So if you observe closely, like we have to add like it is the part of which rule set. So here if you see which is a part of rule set, na, right?
okay. Get it.
Okay, so that's all for today's. Let's stop here. Before closing, if anyone have any question until here, let me know. Anyone? Any question before closing?
No, Vikas.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. So
No,
let's meet tomorrow then and see the next thing. And I will share you some recommendations. Okay, on the LinkedIn. So just write your recommendations.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay then. Take care of rest of the day and enjoy your remaining day. Till then, take care and bye bye.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye
Bye bye.
bye.
सर
Yeah.
एक्चुअली ना मुझे एक और क्वेश्चन पूछा था आज आज कैब जी का इंटरव्यू हुआ मेरा
एक सेकंड प्लीज हाँ हेलो
हाँ
हाँ कर दो अच्छा ठीक है अच्छा ठीक है मम्मी को बोल देना कि वो दादी और आंटी को हाँ मम्मी को बोल देना कि दादी और वो ऊपर ही खाएंगे है ना मम्मी को अभी बोल दो नहीं तो वो बना देंगे ना रोटी वगैरह सब या ट्विंकल
हाँ so what he asked me that if
हेलो
we are adding hello
या ट्विंकल
yeah so what he asked me that if we are adding some transaction in a role and if we want it to I mean reflect it in GRC so what we will do so
so
I said that we'll run authorization sync job
okay authorization sync Actually, not the authorization sync job, because it will only copy the SU24 changes what you have.
He was asking that only, like how then SU24 will pull the data.
Okay,
ऐसे.
okay,
So that's
okay.
correct, na?
Yeah, that correct.
Actually asked me so many questions, but I managed to answer because मतलब मुझे अच्छा लगा मैं आंसर कर पाई.
Good, good, very good.
And you know, sir, that Ankush Suri has taken my interview now. So I got selected also in Deloitte. But what happened? That was for a contractual basis. Later I got to know when they
Uh-huh.
have shared the letter, and there it was mentioned that it's from the consultancy firm, and they have not told me that earlier.
Oh,
So that
oh,
happened.
oh, okay.
Though I got selected, but I couldn't celebrate.
No, no, you still have to celebrate the point like you got selected. So the point here, like, means you are on the right track. That is the main meaning.
Sir, what about our HANA DB class? Like, is it
Yeah,
running? Or?
no, no, it will be starting from Saturday. So that's what I just want to mention here for everyone. Like if their friend and anyone are interested, they can join from this Saturday.
अच्छा ओके. आई आस्क्ड पूजा आल्सो. आई मीन पूजा को बताया मैंने.
हाँ, हाँ.
सो शी वाज लाइक अरे सर का नाम तो बता. तो मैंने बताया. सो शी सेड ही हैज टेकन माय इंटरव्यू.
पूजा का.
हाँ.
अच्छा.
मैं बोला हाँ. मैं बोला अच्छा ओके.
वेटॉस मैंने कब लिया, मेरे को तो याद भी नहीं है.
हाँ. शी सेड दैट यू लेफ्ट आफ्टर शी जॉइंड.
अच्छा, अच्छा. हाँ, 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 हाँ. करेक्ट, करेक्ट, करेक्ट.
हाँ.
नहीं, नहीं, सही है, सही है. ये अभी याद तो आ रहा है, मैंने पता नहीं, याद बिल्कुल पूरा अच्छे से याद
हाँ.
आ रहा है. वो कैसा लगा उसको इंटरव्यू?
ठीक है.
ठीक है.
ओके.
तो वो आएगी क्या है उसका, मेमन?
नो शी वाज सेइंग शी विल थिंक.
कौन से के लिए पूछा था, हाना के लिए?
हाँ मैंने यही पूछा था उसको कि मैंने सिक्योरिटी का भी लगाया है एंड आई एम थिंकिंग फॉर हाना आल्सो.
अच्छा,
सो शी सेड कि अभी तो मेरा बहुत हो रहा है यार मतलब क्या दीपन इज टीचिंग हर.
अच्छा.
सो हाँ सो शी वाज लाइक कि बहुत हो रहा है क्योंकि कुछ आता ही नहीं है ना हमने किया नहीं हमारे प्रोजेक्ट में.
हाँ, हाँ.
सो शी इज लाइक कि मैनेजर भी जा रही है सो बहुत काम है मुझे फिलहाल तो.
अच्छा. ओके, ओके.
या.
ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम.
हाँ. ओके.
ठीक है. गुड, गुड.
यस.
सो इसका टाइमिंग अपना वही 10 to 11 रखेंगे, जो नाइट का था ना, जो हमारा जीआरसी
हम्म.
का था.
हम्म.
तो ये 1-2 दिन में हो जाएगा ख़त्म, या जितना होगा देखते हैं. लेकिन अभी आज कितना, वेडनेसडे है ना?
हाँ.
थर्सडे, फ्राइडे. हाँ, ठीक है ना. सो थर्सडे फ्राइडे के बाद अगर एक क्लास होगी तो मंडे होगी फॉर एआरए के लिए. बट
हाँ.
रेस्ट इज़ ओके, लाइक 9 from 9th वी आर स्टार्टिंग एनीवे, है ना?
चलेगा.
तो 9th को तो मेरे ख्याल से हम लोग का रहेगा, तो मॉर्निंग कर सकते हैं, राइट?
हाँ.
तो ठीक,
यस.
ठीक है. 9th 10th को मॉर्निंग रखते हैं, एंड देन वी विल सी क्या
ओके.
करना. सबसे बात करके देन वी विल सेट द डेट्स आल्सो, कैसे करना
चलेगा.
है ना?
हम्म. ओके.
ठीक है. चलो,
ओके सर.
टेक केयर.
थैंक यू.
या